All right, my name is Justin. This is AI for the Masses, and I am continuing my work on my indie game, The Story of Someone. Today, my plan is to make another upgrade to my pixel art making program that does a down resolution of existing images and things to help give me like a template to work with for making some placeholder asset art. I don't intend on a lot of this asset art to survive to the full game because it's not really based on any sort of style ideas. It's more just ways for me to have some good looks to the game while I'm working on the gameplay and then really settling on what kind of a theme and a vibe. But I do have the ability to reduce the resolution down to my 32 by 32 pixel canvas and also limit it to my color palette for my game, which is a color palette I chose from lowspec.com. The color palette is Dawnbringer 32, and I thought it was just a kind of entry level, well put together color palette that seemed to have most of the major colors that I would need in order to create a fantasy style RPG. So what I want to do today is I want to be able to extend. So here's my color palette, or my canvas here, and my program, and I want to be able to extend the resolution. So 32 by 32 is good for a lot of very small standard objects, but I feel like things like points of interest like trees and just larger objects. I'm trying to think like maybe like big rocks and just maybe large holes or large creatures or backgrounds or clouds, things like that would probably be more than 32 pixels. And I'm not an artist, so I plan on enhancing my artistic capabilities over time, but that's not where I'm at right now. So we're gonna start where I pretty much always do, and I am going to first make sure that the music, I can't tell how loud the music is, I'm just basing it off the bars here. I want to make sure the music's not too loud, but have a little bit of background ambiance. And then I'm going to teach my Gemini chat here what my program is like, so that way we can make some modifications. So I have my consolidator file here, or script here, that will give Gemini the most up-to-date version of my code. And now I'm going to drag that file in. Let's see, is this the right one? I got to make sure I am in the wrong folder off screen here, and let's check. All right, there we go. So I bring my consolidated files over to Gemini, bring the temperature down to 0, give it my best practices for coding. And what are we going to do? Well, let me show you what I have. So I've got the pixel art program here. I can draw, but I want to enhance the resolution, and in that process I want it to make the canvas bigger. So I don't want to just I want to have a 64 by 64 pixel array, but I don't want to reduce the pixel size where it's more difficult for me to interact with the individual pixel tiles. So first thing I'm going to do is I am going to reduce the pixel tile size, I think by 3/4, or I'll just say make them 75% as big. So I would like to increase. I want to have the option. I would like to have the option to toggle the canvas size from 32 by 32 pixels to 64 by 64 pixels. So there's a bunch of different things that I'm going to have to take into consideration that I just kind of know from past experience with my program. One is that, well, I already mentioned it, the tile size. So I'll say when toggling to 64 pixel resolution, make the pixel size in the canvas, I am all thumbs, the canvas 75% in size. So I'll make the pixels a little smaller, but I don't want them to be too much smaller. I don't want to just completely double the size of this canvas. It'll just be massive. So I think if I reduce by about 75%, I might be able to keep it from overlapping with my export buttons and things. We'll see. But with that noted, I also want the color palette and the tile sheet grid to move over, maybe like down and over. So see, so when toggling to the 64 pixel resolution, make the pixel size of the canvas 75% in size. And come on, cursor. Also, move the color palette to the right when the canvas gets bigger to prevent overlap. And I'll probably have to toggle this a little bit. The AI doesn't know exactly what the screen looks like. Also, move the tile sheet and PNG. Well, no, that's the wrong thing. Not the export. Let me move this over so I can see at the same time. Let's move the. Well, okay, yeah. So it is the tile sheet and the paste and copy tile buttons down and to the right as well. Okay. And then exporting. When exporting, not exporting, when pasting. When pasting the tile to the tile sheet, I have to decide, do I want my tile sheet to now one tile? So this is my tile sheet. Do I want one export of a 64 by 64 to be all in one tile, or do I want it to span across 4? I think I want to span across 4. So then that means that the overall resolution of the tile sheet itself will be the same. But I do need to make sure that the program doesn't crash if I don't interact with it properly. So let's say when pasting the tile to the tile sheet, pasting the 64 pixel tile to the tile sheet, paste to a 2 by 2 grid on the tile sheet. And let's go with the reference tile being the top left tile. I can either highlight a 2 by 2 set of tiles to select which grid I want to paste to, or select one tile with the tiles to the right and down being overwritten as well. Okay, so hopefully that'll make sense to the AI. Trying to think what else. What could I possibly be? Oh, and I think it will, most likely it'll make the button under here. I'm not going to tell it where to put the button. But it made the import button underneath the save and load button, so I hope that that is where it continues to go. And I think that should do it. Feel like I should like commit. I think I have a get going here, don't I? Let me double check. I do have a get ignore. Okay. So I think I can do get. Yeah. Let me see. I want to ask about this. I don't have a whole lot of experience with Git. And, okay, let me run this. And then once it finishes, I'm going to post what this message is about and ask Gemini about it. So one thing wonderful about AI, it's just like, you know, you can get stuck, not really know something, and I'll just ask. That's all you got to do. Just ask. So this might take a minute, being the first one that I'm working on. But, you know, something that I've been having fun doing is taking these images of trees and turning them into pixel art that I can use. So I'm gonna just do a quick search over here on the side for more images, like maybe, how about like the moon? That might be fun. So I wonder how well it will handle just a picture of the moon. Here, I'm getting one off of just Wikipedia. Let's see, where have I been keeping my images? I think I was keeping them. Oh, I don't even know. Okay. There it is. Oh, Gemini's working hard today. Okay, let's, just for fun, let's, there's the moon. Okay, interesting. Yeah, makes sense. I would want it to be, those are transparent tiles. And then this is kind of interesting. So, nope. I hate it when I do that. Okay, I'm going to just import again. All right. Then, let's see. So, I'm just kind of reviewing the image. Oh, if I get rid of the grid, I'll be able to see the colors better. So, that does make some sense that it picked colors like that. I wonder how well, you know, the average person would be able to tell that this is supposed to be like a pixel art representation of the actual moon. And yeah, how well this would turn out. Yeah, I can't say that I would necessarily know that this is an attempt at expressing our moon, but that's a little bit better because there was a little bit too much color for, like, too much hue and saturation for what I would consider to be a typical image of the moon. But that might pass. Again, just an experiment. It's not round. Definitely kind of oblong shaped. But that was fun. I'm gonna go back to the trees. So what kind of a tree? Maybe like trying to think what kinds of trees. So if this is probably boring for you guys, just sit here and listen to me blab. Let me bring the images over here. What other tree images could I potentially attempt that would work? Oh, like the baobab tree. That'd be kind of fun. That's unique, actually. Yeah, let me see if I can get better. Let's see, baobab. Okay, that one's not bad. It has some extra stuff in there. This one's pretty standard looking. It would get the definitely get the point across. It'd be obvious what kind of a tree that is. Just want a single tree in the image. That's not too bad, but a little bit too much like sunset lighting artifacts. This one's okay. Looks like there were a couple up at the beginning that maybe I should just give a shot. So, like, this one's not bad. This one's okay. I think I'm gonna try this one. Okay. So, I don't really care about the moon. That was just me doing a silly little experiment. Ah, wait. I should first... I want to make the image of the tree as square as possible. And after we play around with this, I will then get back to upgrading the program. So make it a square. It's pretty good. Try to isolate it. I think like this image being so full of artifacts, not too big of a deal, but I think this would be one that would definitely be interesting to do at the higher resolution. Yeah, see, so I mean, I can work with this, definitely work with this, but interesting outcome. So I could go ahead and just commit to a dark color, maybe go even darker brown for the shadow on the left here. Let me bring up the original image here, and then a bit more. I feel like maybe I could do some dithering. This is where I feel like for trees, I definitely need the higher resolution. Like I'm pretty committed to the idea that my pixel art needs to have a little bit more detail. So, and I mean, I can't wait for there to be like more people watching what I'm trying to do and kind of pick apart my lack of artistic skills and be like, you should do this, you should do that. Like, thank you for attending, and definitely helping me become better at all this, because I am art has never been my strong point by any stretch of the imagination. So let's go ahead and let's get rid. Let's clear out the background, make these transparent tiles, and you know, I'm gonna just play around with in the future, like, you know, just throwing these art assets I'm working with, experimenting with, putting them in the game, seeing how they feel. So right now everything is being done in a bubble. I don't really know if I'm on the right track or not, style-wise. Okay, there's my... Oh, that's pretty bad. Okay, but anyway, yeah, definitely not going to stress about letting that one slip through the cracks. All right, let's do the update on the code, because that's really what we're here for. And then I can do the baobab tree again and see if it looks better with double the resolution. All right, I'll update the default canvas size and add constants for 64. Okay, so this is app config. You know, this part is usually pretty boring. I'm not exactly sure which song is playing right now, but I'm gonna turn up some music. Alright, yeah, so while I'm updating my code, at least there's a little bit of music to listen to here. Project state. It really updated a lot of stuff. Oh, that's right. I was gonna, before I really commit to all these changes. Because I want to commit and then make these changes, because I like how the program works so far. These are all intended to be upgrades. So did I actually paste into Pixel Canvas yet? I don't think so. No, but I did do project state. I'm going to back up. Project state, and what was the first one? App config. Okay, save. And save. Alright. What you got for me? Teach me about Git. Okay, of course this is very common, generally harmless warning from Git. Let's break down what it means. Warning is about line endings. Different operating systems use different invisible characters to signify the end of the line. A text file. Okay, the warning is telling you, hey, I see you're on a Windows machine. The files you're adding. Currently using Linux. I'll left line endings. My configuration to set to automatically convert these to okay. Always get care. Imagine you're on Windows and your teammate is on a Mac. Okay, that's I don't think that's an issue for me. Okay, so. Best practice. Why is it? So is that just like the AI? Maybe I should put that into the coding. Okay, when you commit, it converts any accidental CRL up to L. Okay, so it'll automatically fix. All right. So I think it's safe. Git, commit. Need the down resolver with the color palette. What did I say? Like, I'm just making up a word like conformer. Resolution is 32 by 32. All right. Okay, good. So now I feel much more confident about upgrades. Let's get back to the top. All right, back to app config. So this is definitely going to take a minute. It's modifying like almost every single file here. I'm not even halfway scrolled down. Wow. Okay, sprite sheet manager. This one's big. I don't think I can. I wish I could scroll to the bottom of the coding window. I have a feeling that this is something that they will change in the future. Or put the copy button at the top. Or let me do this and then put the copy button. It's like, oh, how much quicker would it be? But you know, also, there is a limit to how many like prompts you're allowed to do for 24 hours. I have a feeling that if I was able to copy and paste so quickly like that, I might actually reach my limit like all the time. But hey, that's fine, right? I'm not actually reaching the limit as it is. So basically, time-wise, I'm wasting prompts every day. That's okay. Okay, let's see. There are no errors, so that's good. At least that. Let's see if the behavior is the way that I want it. Okay. Oh, but okay. All right. All right. Let me try one more time. It's starting in 64. Let me see what happens on the import. Already, when I'm pressing the 64 button, it's having an issue. Look at that. That is, to me, a big improvement. I can definitely work with this. Okay, let me import another one. Like this guy has detail. Oh yeah, yeah. This is nice. How does this one turn out? Not bad. What else? Like this guy. Well, yeah. I'm definitely going to be primarily doing 64 pixels. Look at all these wonderful. Okay, so this one needs to become more squared off. How do I do that? Like, let's let me edit that photo so it is more square from the get-go. It doesn't waste space. And get right up to the top. Okay, I don't need the bottom. The grass. Okay with this. Alright. Now if I import. Yeah, full tree filling the entire frame. Then I can do a fill with the clear and get rid of that background. And then if I'm to compare the image, you can see the colors and the patches, and I mean it's already kind of a pixel art, so but I'm not looking to just like blatantly copy. I hope that feels like genuine. I'm trying to make my own versions of existing art and use these as inspiration. So like I can see that in their version, like the trunk is, oops, I always forget to do that. So the trunk, I'm gonna spread the trunk out more, but I can do this. And then clean up some of these artifacts. So now, I got the trunk, and I can make decisions on my own of like, how do I want to highlight features? So that's kind of green, so I don't like that. In fact, I'm gonna do a fill on the trunk. As doesn't look brown in this context, especially compared to the other. That's too light. Okay, we'll stick with this. And then I'm gonna make highlights on the left-hand side. Now, what happens? See, I can't properly maneuver this stuff. I need all this to move to the right. Now, what happens if I paste the tile? Okay, so it only went into the one tile. What happens if I paste the tile? Press OK. So yeah, not really working the way I'd like. But my main reason for making this version of the program was to make more, to more easily like emulate more complex asset art, and I don't mind necessarily in hindsight that I may not be able to I mean, I'm gonna fix these bugs, but I don't know how much I really need to toggle between 32 and 64 in this program. I could just use the 32-bit or the 32 pixel version on its own and use the 64 in a different way. So I might branch this off and be like, I have a 64 version and a 32 version, and I'll just use them as needed separately instead of having to have this toggle between the two, because I know when I press this button it's going to crash. Okay, that's a good step. I don't mind that. I might revert back and just create a whole 64-bit version on its own. So I'll hang on to this chat, but I'm not going to waste the stream time doing that right now. So yeah, the title of this is good enough, and I think I'm going to pivot away from this activity. And there's another thing that I wanted to do with the game today. I want to make some more progress, and I want to work on the item generation algorithm. So the weapons, the armor, and the items. I want to play around with how we're generating items, and I want to create like an item generation sandbox that I can see the results of the procedurally generated items, and then just I can pull those items in to the main game as needed for like the shops and things like that, and like treasure chests and stuff. So I kind of have to brainstorm a little bit with Gemini about how I might go about doing this. Also, I have primary and secondary characteristics for my character. So a character has strength, but the strength increases the attack, or the strength increases the amount of weight they can carry. So I am trying to decide, and I don't want to make this overly complicated, do I want the weapons to modify primary stats or secondary stats? And I don't think I want them to modify both. because then it's just gonna create issues. But I'm kind of leaning towards. See, I don't know. Let me put in the code and review with Gemini how the code is currently dealing with the stats and what the list of the primary and secondary stats are. And then we'll brainstorm some of the classic ways that role-playing games have handled stat modification due to equipped items. So, alright. In my game, I have primary and secondary stats for the player. Could you list the primary and secondary stats for me to review? Could you also brainstorm with me about how I should go about procedurally generating weapons and armor that will, hold on a second, that will modify the player's stats. For example, I am trying to decide if the weapons and armor should modify the primary or secondary stats. I would also like to have a way that I can generate, let's say, like groups of items for testing to see the procedural generation behavior. Later, I would like the game to be able to access the procedural generation as needed to supply shops and random item as like loot. Is that all I want? Is that my main concern here? So there already is some code that is generating some items, but it's like really, really straightforward. And it's not coherent with like my vision of the game. I was just wanting to test that stores could get items at all. So should probably acknowledge that. I would like to do an overhaul of the item generation that has already been made. It was just a placeholder to test inventory UI and shop UI. We can make any changes necessary to fulfill the vision that we will be brainstorming. All right, let's see what goes on here. Let me just go ahead and press enter because this is going to take a minute. In fact, while I'm waiting, probably should have pinned the pixel art making program and could have made some more art, but I can open up this one. So this one doesn't import any images. It just allows me to draw whatever I want. I do have to say that having to, like, being at the stage where like I can start drawing pixel art and you know, the sky's the limit basically, is pretty overwhelming. I haven't gone into the game in a while. Let's just get a little bit of a refresher of how the game looks. I had made a bunch of asset art. Yes. Okay. So, probably be fun even to just throw trees into these forest tiles for the overworld map. I have trees now. And then but the trees will be tiny in here. That's why I need to actually make like large trees. It's just how detailed do I want them to be? So I also need to modify. Oh, you know, I should take the images of the beds and throw them into my color palette alterer and have them match the color palette more properly, even the floor tiles. Because I don't think the fireplace, the beds, the floor tiles, and even the doors are not using my current color palette. That could be kind of fun. That's partly why I need to go back to the 32. Just have it be its own thing. In fact, I might just do that. Well, okay, let's not get distracted. We got finished here. Let's see how it approached this. Of course, this begins by reviewing your current stat system and then brainstorm a robust, procedurally generated system for your weapons and armor. Based on your player stats.cs file, here is the breakdown of your primary and secondary stats. These are the core attributes that the player invests points into upon leveling. They have a cascade effect on multiple secondary stats. Yeah, okay, so I have the strength, dexterity, constitution, and luck right now. And then those values are plugged into other secondary stats as equations, and then they create effects of how the player's stats grow over time. So, secondary stats. These are the final calculated values used in combat formulas. They are derived from a combination of base values, primary stats, and direct modifiers from equipment. So, max health, attack, defense, speed, accuracy, evasion, crit chance, crit damage multiplier. So, brainstorming procedural item generation. Your current system allows items to modify both primary and secondary stats, which is an excellent foundation. I'm not sure if I like that. Here's a powerful and flexible design philosophy we can implement. Point-buy system. Instead of randomly assigning stats, we'll treat each generated item as having a budget of points. Okay, yeah, you're definitely on the same page with me there. This budget is determined by the item's tier and craftsmanship. Okay. I feel like labeled tiers. Okay, maybe if there's like each tier has a range of a point budget. I like that. And the craftsmanship. Okay, so if I have a tier and then a craftsmanship level that kind of like modifies within each tier. These points have been spent on adding stats. Okay, I like this. This is something I've already had in mind. It's probably kind of like hinted at in the code already. Tier, power level, determines the base point budget. Tier 1 item will have a small budget, while Tier 5 item will have a large one. Okay, we'll have to decide if 5 tiers is enough for the scale of the game that I want to be making. Craftsmanship quality acts as a modifier within a tier's budget range. An exquisite item will have more points to spend than a crude item of the same tier, resulting in better stats. Yeah, I like that. Form factor, base item. This is a template like dagger or cuirass. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It defines the item's type, Equipment slot, base weight, and any inherent properties like daggers are naturally faster. Great axes are slower. Okay. Stat distribution. The point budget is spent on adding stats. We can make primary stats like strength cost more points than direct secondary stats like attack. Budget points are spent on adding stats. We make primary stats cost more than secondary stats. Okay. I'm not against that idea. Making primary stat bonuses more valuable and rarer. Okay, that's cool. Because it's modifying the base stat, not the resulting stat. Special stats like lightness can reduce weight but also cost points. Yeah. Yes. I like that. Primary versus secondary mods. Primary stat mods plus strength plus dexterity should be the cornerstone of magical or high quality items. They offer broader, more significant character development. A +5 strength sword is more exciting than a +10 attack sword because it feels more fundamental. True. Secondary stat mods. These are perfect for fine-tuning and creating interesting trade-offs. A heavy prefix could add a direct plus attack bonus, but also a minus speed penalty. Okay. This allows for more nuanced itemization beyond just stacking primary stats. By combining these, we can generate a vast array of meaningful items. For example, a crude iron dagger tier 1. Low point budget might only have +1 attack. Fine steel long sword of the bear tier 3. Medium point budget. Could roll +3 and plus 2 strength and +2 attack. Masterwork elven rapier of wind. High point budget could roll +8 dexterity, +5 speed, and +5 accuracy. And I kind of like the idea of there being like these words that are associated with which stat is being increased. Okay. The system is elegant, scalable, and gives you precise control over the power curve of your game's loot. Now let's implement this overhaul. Alright. I am open to seeing how this turns out. Okay, so everything's committed. Let's go ahead and close this. Okay, procedural item generator. Okay, services. Doesn't look like a huge update either, so. And I'm definitely going to have to go in. Okay, so why? Minor healing potion, minor healing, but greater healing potion. Yeah, I'm going to have to go through this code. In fact, I'm going to write down the file names that are related to item generation, so that way I don't have to go and interrogate the AI all over and over again. So, give me a second. Item gen. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and put that in. Yeah, it'll be fun too. Okay, so dagger, short sword, army sword, helmet, here's grease shield. So I'm not sure that I like how specific things are being here. So I'm definitely going to have to see how it behaves and then make modifications, because I want there to be, instead of specific, well, maybe I'm okay with specific names for the types of weapons. No, let's see. I'm really glossing over. World Generator Orchestrator. Oh boy. Okay, that created a lot of problems. Am I only changing one method? I didn't look close enough. Yes, I am. Okay, which method is it? Populate. I should probably control F on this one. Okay, there it is. Populate shop inventory. This actually might be the most intimidating part of making the game using vibe coding techniques I've had so far, because I really feel like you gotta be really paying attention as to how the AI is deciding to approach this. So services again, world gin orchestrator, and then the method is populate shop inventory. Okay, and then we have our assets. Data. All right, armor.json. Yeah, what is going on here? I'll add price field to the static item definitions. So you have ID, name, armor, body, weight, stackable. Interesting. The price. Okay. Stop putting that in the JSON files. All right, and then also for consumables. And weapons. All right, definitely don't fully understand the JSON updates. It's okay, let's see what happens first. Let's see, I think I need to ask it to take all of the weapon generating code and create like a sandbox for me to masterwork, cuirass, masterwork helmet of the bear, masterwork cuirass of the wolf. And it's like, see, there's still like durability and things. Like, I don't. Okay, so I see masterwork helmet, tier 2, 8 points. And it has weight. I'm almost to the point where I will kind of want to tell the AI to remove all the item stuff and kind of start this over from scratch. So let's see, because I'm feeling a bit lost in this particular aspect of the code, and I want to be able to produce items like I can produce buildings in my building generator sandbox. So this is a good start. I think I want a sandbox for generating lists of items, like I can generate buildings in the building generator sandbox. I would then like the game to be able to pull different categories of items from the sandbox to populate the game world. Okay, so let's see. So generate building. Can we move the appropriate code into a subdirectory for me to do generation testing of items. Let's see. I think I need to ask some questions like, how is the game getting the items that are generated so far? Could we make a testing environment? I'm trying to think how I want to process. Like, do I want to generate 10 tier 1 items? That could actually be a good idea. Yeah. Tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5. Like it's doing, and then I can add more tiers as necessary. And then, so if I did like a tier 1 category with a low quality factor, and then see what kinds of weapons are generated. So maybe I could do. So I need to also plan for the game being able to produce things. So I could, to make things quick for testing, ask it to do a loop of generating 10 items of a tier level where I press a number button. And how would I do the quality factor? Maybe I just press up arrow and down arrow to increase or decrease the quality. And I'll see the list. Okay, so yeah, okay, this is good. So this environment where I can ask the code to generate a weapon or an item by pressing, oh, okay, hold on. An item of a tier level by pressing a number button. For example, tier 1 items would be created if I press number 1. Alright, additionally, I would like to be able to increase or decrease the quality factor by pressing up or down arrow keys. Also, I would like to press left or right arrow keys to change from making a weapon to making a piece of armor. In this sandbox, I would like to see all the stats associated with the item displayed in a window. For the sandbox, let's loop the generation of the items to make more than one during every generation. I would like to set the number of items generated in a config file. Let's plan for the main game to be able to trigger the generation of an item utilizing the, what is it, like the controls of the sandbox and the code of the main game can ask for items of different tier, quality, and count for weapons or armor as needed to populate a shop or loot container. Okay, alright, got lots of typos here. Let me clean those up. And I think this is a good start. Hopefully it understands that I really want to bring as much of the item generating code as possible into this new sandbox. So how did I start this? Let's get started. I think I want a sandbox to generate a list of items that I can generate items. Like I can generate buildings. It's like similar to how I can generate buildings in the building generator sandbox. I would then like the game to be able to pull different categories of items from the sandbox to populate the game world. Can we move the appropriate code into a subdirectory for me to generate testing of items? About to do testing of the generation of items. How's the game getting how is the game getting the items that are generated so far? Can we make a testing environment where I can ask the code to generate a weapon or an item of a tier level by pressing a number button? For example, tier 1 items would be created if I press number 1. Additionally, I'd like to be able to increase or decrease the quality factor by pressing up or down arrow keys. Also, I'd like to press the left and right arrow keys to change from making a weapon to making a piece of armor. In the sandbox, I'd like to see all the stats associated with the item displayed in the window. For the sandbox, let's loop the generation of the items to make more than one during every generation. I would like to set the number of items generated in a config file every time I press a number key in a config file. Let's plan for the main game to be able to trigger generation item utilizing the controls of the sandbox and the code of the main game. And the code of the main game can ask for items of different tier, quality, and count for weapons of for weapons or armor as needed population. Okay, yeah. All right. Come on. You can do this. If we, make obsolete files if necessary. It's going to be kind of an interesting exercise one day, and I probably think I should do it sooner rather than later to try and make sure that I don't have bloat in my code. I certainly do. I feel like I have a lot less bloat in my code than I would if I was just doing it all myself. But I bet you there is redundant code in here that I am not fully keeping track of. So I'm going to let this cook. I'm going to see how this goes, and I didn't plan on doing a super long stream on this round, but if this goes well, it's probably going to generate a lot of motivation for me, and I might come back for a second stream tonight. But let's see how this goes. Excellent. Creating a dedicated sandbox for procedural generation is a fantastic way to rapidly tune and visualize the system and aligns perfectly with the project's existing structure. Okay, so restructure the core logic. The procedural item generator is a core system, not just a service for one part of the game. I will move it from the services folder to the core items, making it accessible to both the main game and any sandboxes. Okay, interesting. Create the sandbox project. I will generate a new item generator sandbox project, complete with its own configuration, input handling, and UI, similar to other sandboxes. I will update the solution project, okay, and implement sandbox features. Pressing number keys 1 through 5 to generate a batch of items that tier. Use the up-down arrows to cycle through the craftsmanship levels. Use left and right arrows to switch between generating weapons or armor. Display a detailed list of the generated items and their stats. How's the game getting items that are generated so far? Currently, the World Generator service calls the procedural item generator directly to create items for shopkeepers. This is a good design, and it will continue to work this way. The new sandbox will be another client of the same generator, allowing you to test its output in isolation. Good. All right. Relocate the procedural item generator. All right. Move the file from the services to the core items. Okay. So I'm doing that over here on the other screen. So this is the procedural item generator, and we're going to move it to core and then items. Okay. All right. And then, yeah. Okay. So I moved it. I don't have to delete. And now a new file. Oh, so now that it's been moved, I have to just copy right over it anyway, which is funny. Okay, so new version of the file. Okay, and then World Generation Orchestrator and the services. Okay, update existing files. This is a big file. What? Okay. Make sure I'm still on the same file here. Yep. And then the project file. And then the solution file. Okay, now what? So, all right, now we're making the sandbox. Okay, this is exciting for me. This is making me happy here. Because so far, most of my sandboxes have really helped. All right. Make sure off screen here I labeled my folder correctly. Okay, so we have an item generator sandbox, and now we have to make a project file. Okay. And then sandbox config. Program.cs. I feel like this code shouldn't be too long. I'm not doing any visuals. I'm just basically creating data. Input handler, but I want to be able to rapidly produce this data and be able to wrap my brain around what it is that I'm trying to create here. Okay, UI controller, by having its own sandbox that I can just run over and over and over again. Oops, typo. There we go. Right, it's going to be interesting to see how this turns out. Are these errors going to disappear? So I should be able to run the sandbox separately. So let's see what happens. Got lots of errors. Oh, why is there a circular dependency? Shouldn't be a need for it. So this is why okay. I suspect that the reason why I'm getting circular dependency is because I'm asking it to reappropriate code that was outside in the main game to like a internal sandbox subdirectory.